everybody. Welcome back to part 2 of Designing a Harmonious Life. Jennie and I are going to pick up on our conversation of the elements we believe that go into a harmonious, holistic, fulfilling life. So please join in our conversation. Let us know what you think about these elements of life and enjoy this episode.
So I was thinking a lot about when you were talking about just these different things, about how there's so many layers to having that full life.
Yep.
And
Yep.
the making a difference is huge. And I think it starts sometimes when we begin to decide that we're going to make a difference to ourselves.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
That really is powerful. That finding coming from suicide, about not feeling a sense of purpose or of significance, that their life has significance. Because I'm looking for the book around me and I'm not going to find it, so I'll stop looking. There's something about, and you just alluded to, something about being a part of something bigger and more significant than just yourself has such a huge impact. And you mentioned that kind of goes along with like community, and it does, but I think it also has to go along with this idea of like altruism, like the idea that we're going to, part of our life needs to be like a selfless concern for the well-being of someone else. I don't like the word charity because I think it carries like a connotation of like pity, or you're less than I am, so I need to help you out. But altruism, like being willing to being selfless to help or for the well-being of someone else, I think is significant. I think that's absolutely significant. And it flies in the face of this culture of get more, have more, be more. And altruism is saying, and the path to true fulfillment is saying, give yourself away, make your life about someone or something else. And through that path comes true fulfillment, true purpose. And then, oh, this is great. So then again, how all these things, well, I see how they're woven now.
Okay.
If I want to live a life of true altruism, that I could live a life of significance, helping someone, or I guess stop saying helping, of selfless living towards the well-being of others, whoever that other is. Wouldn't it only make sense that I take care of my physical body so I can do that as best I can for as long as I can? Wouldn't it only make sense that I find a community of people to do it with? So that when I stumble, when I'm having a hard time, when I'm questioning what on earth am I doing this week, I have other people connected with me to help me along the way. It's absolutely how I eat, how I move, how I connect with other people, my spirituality. All of these things support and build up this idea of your life's purpose. How you are living selflessly towards the well-being of other people, a mission in a community bigger than yourself.
Yes.
They're all woven.
Yes. It all came together. It wasn't
does.
even planned. That's awesome. I agree. 100%. If I was texting you, I'd have the 100% thing.
You can shoot me a text real quick if you want. That'll work.
100%. Yes.
Whoops. Oh, I pushed a button. What did I do? Oh no, I pushed a button on the podcast. I think I took a picture.
Did you?
I don't know. We'll see what happens. Oh
funny.
My gosh, I did. Yes.
Look at me.
That's the worst.
Can everybody see that picture?
I hope not.
You need to delete it.
I'll make sure I edit that out. I accidentally pushed a button on the podcast. Man, we were just having like this really deep, profound statement.
I know.
This total like complete coming together of every idea in the cosmos, and I accidentally take a screenshot. That's wonderful. I am so good at killing the buzz.
It wasn't that. I thought we were re-recording or something. I don't know.
I know, right? was like, why is it counting down? Well, hey, we're staying true to brand here. This is not scripted. We're not going to cut this out and redo the whole episode. No.
We are not experts.
No, we're not trying to be. So, back on topic, Brendon. So when we talk about lifestyle design and we talk about, especially I think how we would like to coach, right? Mm-hmm. We would like to say how you move matters, how you eat matters, mm-hmm. the tribe you belong to matters, your spirituality matters. All of these things matter because they're woven together and they propel you forward and sustain you so you could live a life of purpose and significance.
Yes.
And I think if we were to describe like what is the purpose of woven, it might just be that right there.
I think so.
It might just be that. I'll have to clip that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And keep that.
I like that. And as you were talking, I was trying to be a listener mm-hmm. or, and thinking if I heard this, one of my first thoughts would be like, wow, that sounds great. But it also sounds like a lot. Mm. You just named all these categories in my life, and there's no way I can get all of those on point. And I would just encourage anyone who's listening who is thinking, whoa, that because they are all interwoven, and let's say you choose to go to bed 10 minutes earlier, mm-hmm. 2 nights out of the next 7, I promise that small act of self-care will bleed into everything else. It's not like a person has to be like, now I'm going to work on my sleep. Now I'm going to work on my workouts. It's like choosing one thing that feels kind of like the low-hanging fruit mm-hmm. will propel you into this beautiful self-knowledge and this beautiful way of those things kind of coming together. So I wanted to encourage anybody who was saying like, man, I love all those aspects and all mm-hmm. those aspects of my life need work. And we're not going to bombard and change all of those at once. We take one tiny step mm-hmm. and it keeps moving you forward. It's the power. I love the little term, the power of tiny gains.
Yep. 100%.
It's that whole 1% better every day or something. But I like to think of it as just one tiny step mm-hmm. every day that mm-hmm. doesn't have to be overwhelming.
Yep. Yeah. And because these things are so closely tied, and I'm going to keep using woven. It sounds forced now because these things are woven together. A little change in one area, like you said, a little change in one area, that impact is felt in the others. Mm-hmm. So imagine if you just turned dial a little bit here from your relationship with food and just a little bit over here with spirituality, just a touch, not a lot.
Yeah.
Those two little tweaks in those 2 areas are going to have a ripple effect. There's that again. Yeah. A ripple effect in the other areas of your life. Mm-hmm. Your workouts will be different. How you're interacting with people will be different because you've made 2 tiny tweaks.
Yes.
And I think, though, the important thing to remember here is this isn't like a 6-week change your life, challenge.
Right.
Or end game. This is a lifestyle. This is how we're going to deliberately choose to live, the principles by which we're going to choose to live for the rest of our lives. Mm-hmm. So when you put it in that perspective, I'm like, I don't have to figure everything out in the next 6 weeks or 6 months or even the 6 years. Mm-hmm. If I can make a little tweak here and a little tweak there, I'm fine because I have the rest of my life in perspective. And the ultimate measure of the effectiveness of these things is, has my life had purpose and significance when it comes to impact on other people or the world around me? Mm-hmm. And that story is only going to be told like after I'm gone, right?
Right. I think when I realized I would never arrive, I always wanted to arrive. Yep. I don't know what I thought that arrival was going to be or look like. I guess I actually thought it was going to be like an easy life, that I had everything figured out, all wise, all knowing. And I thought, and then when I figured out that it sounds morbid, but I was never going to reach that.
Yes.
It actually was like a weight was off. And I thought, okay, I think this will be my lifelong lessons to learn and my lifelong journey. And I'll make mistakes and I can make amends and move on and continue to learn.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's a great point as far as once you realized that the goal is not to arrive somewhere, how that took the pressure off. The first time I kind of grasped that or wrestled with that, for me, it was actually a little bit depressing. I'm like, well, then what's the point? Why bother? I'm just going to go eat Doritos. Like, it doesn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
That I will edit out. But it took me a while to say, oh yeah, because, the idea is called impermanence, because, nothing's going to last forever. You're never going to arrive. It did for me take a ton of pressure off. A good book on that concept. Have you heard the book 4,000 Weeks? No. By Oliver Burkeman? It's subtitled Time Management for Mortals, but the book really is not about time management. It's about the idea of non-permanence as it flies in the face of like a productivity culture. How can we be more efficient, more productive? And the point of the book is nothing's permanent. So let's be careful with how we spend our 4,000 weeks.
Okay.
It's really, really, that was the book when I finished it. I was like, oh, this sucks, man.
Okay.
Sorry, Oliver, if you're listening. But then as I sat with it for a while and had breakfast with a friend over it, I'm like, wait, that is actually very liberating.
Yeah.
And so that'd be a book I'd love to revisit with that framework of impermanence.
As you're talking, oh gosh, I don't know who it was. Andrew somebody. He's super famous now. Instagram. But he interviewed this guy, and then I saw his post, and I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. He had a poster of the weeks in his life.
Yeah, like I've seen that.
Each week was a little dot. Mm-hmm. And he designed his poster to live. He thought if I lived till I'm 88. So it was really sobering when he showed his life in weeks. I was like, there's not that many dots as you think.
No.
And then he highlighted certain dots that were significant in his life. And I think 3 of his children were going to college, like within the same year, something crazy.
Yeah.
And so he was like, this is the week my daughter leaves and the other daughter and the son and things. And so he said to some, it might have seemed morbid or whatever, but to him, it was like an encouragement of, I really don't have that much time here. Mm-hmm. And to me, that's the same premise of, I'm never going to get it all together. So why not enjoy or try to be as happy, as purposeful as I can when I'm here?
Absolutely. Yeah. So that does make it all about the journey you choose to be on then. Because we all have a finite amount of time. There's this idea of impermanence. So be wise with the journey you choose. You could spend your time, beating your head against the table because, you're not achieving this or that, or you find yourself in the same cycle of winning and losing. Or you could come to the idea that I'm going to journey instead. I'm going to stop trying to achieve. I'm going to journey instead and make sure I surround myself with the right people so we can lead each other as we go. And the great irony of that is you just might find the achievement because you're not focused on it.
Right.
You might find that fulfillment because you're not focused on it. You might find that purpose specifically because you chose not to focus on it. Instead, you chose to focus on your journey, your community, and living a selfless life of helping other people. Oh, what a dichotomy that is.
Yeah, right?
What a dichotomy that is.
Okay, this is real life stuff. I'm going to say it. You use a lot of words that sometimes I'm like, do I know that word? So I might just have to stop and ask. There was one you threw out. Impermanence?
Impermanence. Nothing is permanent.
Okay.
Nothing, yeah.
There was one before that. I was like, I know that word. I know that word. Yeah, you got some big ones.
Sorry.
No, it's good. It's good. It's words I know. I don't hear them often, so it challenges me to remember the definition of them. And I might have to ask for a definition sometimes.
Yep. That's so good. I love it. I love it. I love what we're doing. I love this. I love this.
Yes. Okay, case in point. Dichotomy is things are opposite. Tell me your definition of that.
Yeah. Dichotomy means like on opposite ends, like a yin and a yang, a day or a night, cold or hot.
Okay.
It could also mean that it could either be ironic, like you didn't expect that to be the opposite, like, or it could be, I don't say complementary, but almost like necessary, like good and evil.
Okay.
There can't be one without the other.
Right.
There's two opposite forces, and
yeah,
that's dichotomy.
Okay, and you were using it as like you if you take your eyes off of this, like I'm going to achieve this incredible like millionaire life, and you choose to focus on serving others and being community, taking care of yourself, those things might actually occur, which would be the dichotomy.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
By giving away, you actually receive more than you could ever imagine.
I love that. Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
Someone's going to troll in the comments and be like, technically, the definition of dichotomy.
Or that girl doesn't know anything.
And I will just tip my hat to you and say, God bless you. Oh, bless your heart. Is that how I have to say it? No.
I've never said that to anybody. Are you thinking it's like a Southern thing?
I heard it's like a very subtle like put down.
Oh, maybe.
Oh, bless your heart, you idiot. No,
poor little thing.
Yeah, poor little thing. Oh, bless your heart.
That's it. That was the right
there?
tone.
That's it. Okay. I'll work on it. I'll get better. I wonder if that's a dichotomy. I don't know.
True.
We're not going to turn this into a dictionary podcast. It ain't going to happen.
Okay.
So, yeah, I think that focusing on a wider, more inclusive, harmonious approach to how you live life, how we coach, truly does lead to the most fulfillment. I think that's part of what we're doing and the journey we're on right now.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
And that we hope other people will join us on.
Yes.
That's part of what we're doing here that's what we're doing here at Woven.
Yeah. That's what we hope. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you write down something cool?
Well, I just wrote like just living in a wider thing, just those categories leads to a more fulfilling life.
Yes. Mm-hmm. For me, I think we can kind of wrap up with these thoughts. For me, out of all of those areas, like, being an affiliate owner, like I get the gym thing, nutrition, I think I have more importantly, I think I have a very healthy relationship with food. Spirituality is incredibly important to me. From a craft or a hobby or an expression standpoint, I feel very comfortable. For me, the big area that I really want to explore more, that I lack the most right now, is probably the community aspect. Mm-hmm. Probably the community. I was talking with some coworkers today in my security consulting work, and we're all remote, and we're talking business, and I just felt compelled to say, you know what? If you ever feel isolated and you ever feel on your own and it starts to make you depressed or anxious, reach out. Because we have so few opportunities to interact with each other. Even video is not the same.
Right.
Like, reach out. You are not alone. And I felt compelled in the middle of this technical meeting to say this to my audience. probably because that's my heart's cry a little bit too.
Yeah.
I desperately want to journey with people. Desperately.
I agree. When you were naming it, I was like, oh, what is he going to say? What is he going to say he's lacking in? And I was like, I wonder if it's going to say community. That's what I feel as well.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I think we both have the entrepreneurial,
Mm-hmm.
bent in us. And that's a lonely place.
It is. Very.
It's a lonely place. And I've heard that, and I knew that. I experienced that. And I think nothing makes me feel as full as being with people and encouraging them and feeling like I'm not alone.
Yes. Yeah.
Like I attribute it to, you could go shopping and you get the best outfit and you're like, man, I look like $1 million. And you're like, I feel so good. Well, that lasts maybe half an hour, honestly. But when I have time with my girlfriends or a community, I'm like full for days, right? Yeah. It's like a rich fullness that I do feel like we, especially nowadays, are lacking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's funny you mentioned kind of how common that is among entrepreneurs. Probably the 2 times I felt the most lonely, like pre-pandemic, because that just, I think, it put everybody on a different level when it came to isolation. Yeah. Pre-pandemic, the 2 most lonely times of my life were 1 when I was a pastor and 2 when I was an affiliate owner. I still am. But yeah, those were by far the 2 most lonely times because I was surrounded by people who maybe even looked to me for leadership and direction, yet felt such a lack of real person-to-person connection.
Wow. Isn't that interesting?
It's crazy.
It is crazy.
It's absolutely crazy.
And what beautiful awareness that you could feel that and know that.
It took a while.
Yeah.
Awareness is definitely a muscle you have to exercise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, I think that's a great place to wrap this, talking about the entire concept of lifestyle design. I think what we'll probably end up doing, because you and I have experience and expertise and all of these things combined between the 2 of us, is you'll probably start to see out of us podcast episodes dedicated to each of these things as we go on. So we could start to share what knowledge we have, what expertise we might have. Again, we're not experts. We're not trying to be. But I think if we have wisdom in these areas, we want to share it with the community so we could walk this journey together.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Awesome. Mm-hmm. Thanks so much, Jennie. This was
Thank you.
Perfect after the kind of week I've had.
Yes.
I
think we both needed it.
Yeah, we both did. So, and thank you, listeners, for listening along as Jennie and I kind of just work through our thoughts and our feelings here. So thank you so much for listening to Woven, and we can't wait to connect with you some more.
Absolutely.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
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 Yes, I got it recorded this time. You're the best. You're the greatest. That's the greatest. It's just the way you naturally talk. It's wonderful. I love it.
Oh, gosh. Are you recording right now?
I haven't stopped yet.
Oh, Lord. Now, I think I say that a lot, too. I think that's, Lord.
I love it. That's great. Okay, I'm really going to stop now.
Okay,
ready?
good. Yes,
3, 2, 1, stop.